So hi, hello everyone, hello dear professors, researchers, enthusiasts of QNLP, and also the audience watching on YouTube. My name is Kevin. I'm very happy to be here in Oxford at this QNLP conference presenting the topic working towards a fully useful quantum use case in the healthcare industry, our journey exploring QNLP. So as you might already tell from the title that I will not be presenting some academic progress, but rather I will be representing the other side, so the application side of the QNLP, and hopefully after this talk you will get a better sense of how it feels like as a non-expert in the field to play with QNLP. Yeah, so the structure of this talk will be as follows. First, I will introduce who I am and who we are on the team working on this project. And next, I will explain you in detail the use case we identified for QNLP. And after that, I will share with you our motivation for using DiscoCat to solve this particular use case. And then I will discuss our experiment procedure using the DiscoPy Python package. And in the end, I will give you a short outlook. So a bit on who I am. So I'm still a master's student studying at Technical University of Munich. I mainly study quantum computing, and I'm interested in many different parts of quantum computing, including like theory, experiment, algorithm, and application. So I'm interested in seeing how we can combine all those parts and finally lead to a fully useful quantum use case in the future. So in parallel to my studies, I'm an intern at the Walter Meissen Institute, which is also based in Munich. The institute specializes in fabrication and experiments with superconducting quantum computers. And my master thesis, which will begin soon, will be on the topic of encoding image data into quantum states for quantum machine learning. And I've also participated in quite a few quantum hackathons, including the IBM Global Hackathon last year, and also recently the Deloitte Quantum Climate Challenge. Yes, so before I move on, I would like to introduce you Dr. Thomas Emmer, who wishes to be here but couldn't make it. So he's an active user of QNLP. Probably many of you already know him, and he shows up on Discord, the Discord channel very often. And he's also the innovation incubator lead at Merck, and he wants to say something.
Yeah, hi, my name is Thomas from Merck. Unfortunately, I won't be at the conference, but we are sending Kevin, and he will present the case that we did from Merck with category theory, in principle, quantum natural language processing, an idea that I was proposing as a backup solution for their hackathon. So we gave them, I don't know, the possibility to do whatever they want in a quantum entrepreneur leadership project to do something with healthcare industry, from either drug discovery or you name it, or a crazy idea which was back then even less pronounced because we didn't have the Lambeck module. So he will talk about that, and I'm really sad that I can't be in London, unfortunately. I hope to dial in via the conference, and I'm just using this opportunity via the Discord to say hello and wish you a very interesting, fun conference. And hi Bob, hi Alex, hi each and everybody. Hope to meet you soon in a later conference. Bye.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so precisely just as Thomas said, this project took place during the university course last year called Quantum Entrepreneurship Laboratory, which was co-organized by my university TUM and also Push Quantum, which is the local quantum community in Munich. And the idea of this project is that we form an interdisciplinary team of 6 students. So on my team, we have 3 business students, 1 computer science guy, and 2 quantum students. And we pair up with an industry partner. In our case, that's Merck, a pharmaceutical company based in Darmstadt, Germany. And together, we identify a pain point of their business and try to solve it with a quantum technology. And so our task is to come up with a proof of concept technical report, but also develop a business model around it so that hopefully in the future someone interested could upgrade it to a real business. And obviously we chose QNLP as a quantum technology. So here we'd like to thank Bob and his team for developing the theory so that we have something to apply. And of course, also special thanks to Alexi for giving us the DiscoPy support. And this slide pretty much summarizes what I've just said. So we have like on one side, researchers in Oxford developing theory and software. And on the other side, the industry partner just proposes a problem. And we as students, we find what resources are available and combine with the problem and come up with a demo for the application. Yes, so now let me walk you through the problem we want to tackle. So here you see a diagram showing the drug development process. Like it's quite complicated. You don't have to understand each part of it, but the main idea is the whole process is super long. It usually takes like 10 years on average. And in the beginning, you need to do some research on the chemical properties of the drug. And when that is ready, you will move on to the stage called clinical development, which means you perform many rounds of human testing with increasing number of volunteers. And when that part is ready, your drug could then be approved by FDA or the equivalent department in UK or Europe, and then your drug will finally go to the market. And then comes the very critical stage, which is the post-market stage. That is because sometimes during that stage, there will be some undesired effects, side effects of the drug that are previously unnoticed during the clinical development, because some side effects only appear when you take this drug for long enough time, and also some side effects only take place for people that are underrepresented during the clinical development stage. Yes. And historically, how pharmaceutical companies deal with this post-market monitoring is that they rely heavily on email correspondences and like physician hotlines and company websites that they wish the patients to self-report any side effects if they have. However, now as more and more people, especially young people, prefer to describe the problems with medicals and drugs they take on social media platforms such as Twitter or other online forums, there is an increasing need for an automated detection of adverse drug events from social media texts. So just to make sure that you all understand what this problem is about exactly, let me tell you a story. So like, suppose this guy here is me yesterday. I felt, I didn't feel so well because I drank 3 glasses of wine and vomited, and also the weather in Oxford is not so good, raining a lot. So I decided to try this new drug developed by Merck, and everything went super well. I got all my symptoms disappeared within 3 hours. However, there is one thing, that my face turned green. And I'm obviously not so happy about it. I feel that's like it maybe signify some bad things about my body, and I want to complain. I want to type the thing on Twitter. So I wrote, I took a pill from Merck, and then my face turned green. And I sent out that tweet. And suppose that Merck did a horrible job at post-market surveillance. They actually never saw this post. They missed this information. And this will lead to some worse consequences. That is like some more people who have the same symptoms as I did also took their drug, and they also turned green. And that's definitely an undesired situation for both the patients and for the company. But now suppose that Merck does have a good tool for post-market surveillance. meaning that they have a software based on NLP or QNLP that can scrape the data from my Twitter post and identify this sentence, pale causes green face, and actually identifies that as something like indicating occurrence of adverse drug events. Then they could connect with me very quickly and send me to hospital, and I will be cured very fast. And also they can fast respond and recall all the drugs in the market and put them back to the lab to do further research, so that in the end, I will be the only one turned into green, and all the other people will be safe. Yeah, so now you've already known the use case in very detail, hopefully. Let me give you some motivation for why we are using DiscoCat. So actually, in recent years, there have been already a lot of researches for this use case using classical NLP models. However, we believe that DiscoCat could also be an interesting thing to look at. That is because when we read through the QNLP papers, we learned that natural language and quantum theory share the same interaction logic. So that means the DiscoCat diagrams we draw and later the variational quantum circuits they turn into actually have the shapes, the shapes of those circuits can actually be justified in from a linguistic perspective. So how many layers of gaze you have and where the parameters of pace are actually make sense. And that would mean the model is more interpretable and could also potentially lead to a higher accuracy in the longer run. And the second good thing about DiscoCat is that it's NISQ friendly. So we are not just waiting here until we have a fault-tolerant quantum computer to run the algorithm, but we can already start with it and upgrade it constantly when the theory improves. Yeah, so what exactly did we do? So as I said, we just looked into the papers and tried to find the state of the art at that time. And we found that it's actually this paper, QNLP in practice, running compositional models of meaning on a quantum computer. This paper has been discussed a lot in previous talks already, so I will keep it brief. So I will walk you through it, give you a review of what happened in that paper using an example from our own data set. So let's say we have this sentence here, aspirin reduces severe headache. The first thing we want to do is to feed it into a parser. So a parser is something that determines the syntactic structure by analyzing constituent words. So in plain English, that means you break that sentence into individual words and you identify the type of each word. So for example, here, aspirin is a noun, reduces is a transitive verb, severe is an adjective, and headache is another noun. And since we are using pre-group parser, the word types are written in these forms. You have characters joined by dots. Yes, and then once you have done the previous step, now it's the time to create the DiscoCat diagrams. That means now you are drawing the words as boxes and you put the word types below it, and you can connect them with cups, and they can contract with each other, and the remaining string will output the meaning of the sentence. And after that, another thing you can do is to rewrite this diagram, so you're actually allowed to bend the wires to flip the box from up to down. And this is actually something really powerful when we later transform this into quantum circuits, because it basically gives the user the freedom to choose between having a deep, but a deep circuit with fewer qubits, or having a shallow circuit but with more qubits, and so that the user can transform the diagram into the shape that best matches with their hardware. Yeah, and as I said, like now we transform the DiscoCAT diagrams into variational quantum circuits here. And if you prefer, you can also like rotate it by 90 degrees and turn it into this layout, which is like more common in quantum computing textbooks. This is actually a screenshot I took from IBM Q Experience website. Yes, and the next step is like once we have this quantum circuits, we can compile it so that it can be actually run on a quantum device. And since we are using Qiskit, it's automatically done with the Qiskit.transpile function. And we can also adjust the optimization level when we execute the job. Then we run the circuits on the quantum computer, or actually the simulator, because we didn't have access to the real device. We don't want to pay. Sorry. And then by executing the circuits and doing measurements, what you will see is like a histogram of labels of 0 and 1. So 0, for example, means the sentence indicates adverse drug event, and 1 means like the sentence does not indicate adverse drug event. And based on those distribution, you will then go back to the previous variational quantum circuit and adjust the parameters in those gates according to some optimization algorithm. Like in the original paper, they used SPSA, but we chose to play a bit around with it and use instead an adapted version of coordinate descent based on parameter shift rule. But both would work, yeah. So here you can see like the result we got on the simulator averaged over 15 trials. So like after about 200 iterations, the accuracy is pretty nice, around 94%. Yes, so that is already the main part of the presentation, and now I can give you a short outlook. So just as the QNLP in practice paper is one of the first experiments toward a fully useful theory, the project we did is also a first step toward a fully useful quantum use case. And to make it fully useful in the future, what we definitely want is the ability to process not only a single sentence, but also text in the form of paragraphs. So for example, like when I write in Twitter, I write a lot. I don't just write pale causes green face, but I would rather write something like, I took a pill from Merck, I had cucumber sushi roll with wasabi and an avocado smoothie for lunch, my face turned green. So the challenge is like whether in the future, like we can still tell from this text, get rid of all those irrelevant information and still identify that as an indication of ADE. And we hope like by going from DiscoCAT and to DiscoCirc, like in the future, like this task can still be solved. Yes, and before I end this presentation, let's welcome back again Thomas. He wants to give his feedback as a user.
Yeah, hi. Kevin wanted me to give you an outlook where we can do something really useful from our perspective with quantum. We all know that we are in a NISQ area. We don't care too much because we're either waiting till or we're working towards something useful. I guess we all are working towards this. So what we tried, Kevin told you, was pioneering some ways for a better adverse event signal detection, looking at whole sentences. We've seen all this. Our challenge was the parser, because I think the parser is definitely language dependent, and there might be something to do something really useful with translation. If we have the content independent from a language, we just might need a dictionary or something. I see this a bit like QNLP being something like an autoencoder where we can then generate similar to guns or whatever, novel sentences in another language for a human reader. As that's one thing. We have a challenge is the context that just looking at raised blood pressure, this can be either a wanted effect or it can be an unwanted side effect. So it's all about context. And maybe much bigger context is we have the biology as a context. We have the environment. You can raise blood pressure by emotional. For example, I'm still speaking and we're towards the conference, end of the conference. So my idea is to build not a digital twin. Everybody's building digital twins. I'm not a fan of digital. I think we should aim as an industry to build informational twins, like a systems biology plus. And definitely this should be based on concepts. And I think we are up to something with that. So we definitely need to work on that, not now because it's end of the conference. I like to say thanks also for Kevin to presenting this. If you want to reach me, I'm here. And I'm handing back to Kevin and wish you a nice rest of event.
So I actually don't have too much more to say, but this is the last slide. So thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you enjoy the story. So next time when someone asks you why you are researching quantum natural language processing or natural language processing, at least you have a nice story to present. And here, like, you can find 3 QR codes. That one is a link to our GitHub repository, and this is a LinkedIn of Thomas, and this is the one of me. So, like, in case you want to connect or like check it out, just scan it. Yeah. Thank you.